The theme of workplace disrespect and the underestimation of valuable contributions, especially from those in administrative roles, often leads to a quiet, simmering resentment. This story explores how one woman, dismissed as just a secretary, turned that dismissal into an opportunity for profound personal and professional vindication. The fluorescent hum of the office at 6 a.m. usually soothed me, a quiet preamble to the chaos. Today it grated. My coffee, black and bitter, tasted like my mood. Ethan, our CEO, was due in an hour, and I had a problem. Not a problem, the problem. The kind that could sink a company. "Morning, Mandy. You're in early." Mark, a senior developer, shuffled past my desk, his voice thick with sleep. He paused, noticing my rigid posture. "Everything all right?" "Just peachy, Mark." I forced a smile. "You know, the usual pre-launch jitters." He nodded, not entirely convinced, but continued to the kitchen. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, the email subject line staring back at me. Urgent, critical glitch in Project Chimera launch. I had drafted it last night, then deleted it, then drafted it again. My guts clenched. I knew I needed to talk to Ethan face to face. An email felt too easily dismissed, too impersonal for the magnitude of what I'd discovered. When Ethan finally swept in, an hour late as usual, his expensive suit seemed to suck all the air out of the room. He tossed his briefcase onto his mahogany desk, the thud echoing in the still office. He didn't even glance my way. "Ethan." I stood, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. "Can I have a moment?" He stopped mid-stride, turning slowly. His eyes, the color of a winter sky, narrowed slightly. "Mandy, what is it?" "I'm swamped. Pre-launch jitters are contagious, apparently." He offered a tight, humorless smile. "It's about Project Chimera," I began, clutching the printout of code in my hand. I was reviewing the final build, cross-referencing the compliance protocols, and I found something. A critical vulnerability in the data encryption module. It's not just a bug, it's a gaping hole. If we launch like this, every single user's data will be exposed. His smile vanished. He walked closer, his gaze sweeping over my face, then the paper in my hand. "Mandy, with all due respect, what exactly are you talking about? You're my executive assistant, not a cybersecurity expert." His tone was dismissive, a low rumble of annoyance. "I know my role, Ethan." I met his gaze, refusing to back down. "But I also spent 3 years at SectorNet before coming here, specializing in data integrity. I designed the compliance framework we're using. I know this code. This specific vulnerability, it's a known exploit from a 2018 breach. It's been patched in every other major system, but somehow it slipped through here." He scoffed, a short, sharp sound. "Slipped through? Are you suggesting my entire engineering team, led by David, missed something so fundamental? David, who built this company's backbone. Mandy, you've been doing an excellent job with my schedule and managing logistics. Stick to that." He waved a hand, a dismissive gesture. "Let the engineers handle the engineering. You're just a secretary. Don't worry your pretty little head about code." The words hit me like a physical blow. Just a secretary. The phrase hung in the air, thick and suffocating. My face flushed, not with embarrassment, but with a slow-burning fury. My throat tightened. "Ethan, this isn't a pretty little head issue." I managed, my voice dangerously calm. "This is a company-ending issue. The financial fallout, the reputational damage, it would be catastrophic." He leaned back against his desk, crossing his arms. "Catastrophic? Hyperbole, Mandy. You're overreacting. We've invested millions in Chimera. It's perfect. It's going to revolutionize the market. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a board meeting in 30 minutes. I need those quarterly reports you prepared." He didn't even look at the printout. He didn't ask to see the specific lines of code I'd highlighted. He didn't question how I knew, or why I was so certain. He just dismissed me, my expertise, my warning, everything, with 5 patronizing words. I stood there, a statue of disbelief. Just a secretary. The phrase echoed in my mind, a cruel mantra. My vision blurred for a second, then sharpened. He wanted quarterly reports? He'd get them. But he'd get a whole lot more, too. "Of course, Ethan," I said, my voice now completely devoid of emotion. "They're on your desk. Is there anything else I can assist you with?" He gave me a curt nod, already turning to his computer. "No, that will be all. Oh, and Mandy, please hold my calls for the next hour. Unless it's the board chairman." I walked back to my desk, the rhythmic click of my heels the only sound in the growing silence. My hands trembled as I sat down, but it wasn't fear. It was adrenaline. It was a cold, hard resolve. The next few hours were a blur of meticulous, quiet action. I did my job. I answered phones. I scheduled meetings. I even fetched Ethan his second coffee, a silent automaton. But beneath the surface, a plan was forming, intricate and precise. I called Liam, a former colleague from SectorNet. Liam, it's Mandy. Remember that old encryption vulnerability, the ghost in the machine exploit from 2018? The one we patched in 2 days. Mandy, long time no talk. Yeah, I remember it. Nasty one. Why? His voice was cheerful, oblivious. I think I found it in a current system, I said, keeping my voice low. I need you to verify something for me. I'll send you the code snippet, anonymized, of course. Just tell me if it's what I think it is. He agreed immediately. Liam was a good man, a true professional. He wouldn't ask questions. He'd just do the work. While I waited for Liam's confirmation, I also reached out to Sarah, a friend who worked for a prominent tech journalism outlet. Hey Sarah, it's Mandy. Got a minute for a hypothetical? Mandy, you know I always have a minute for you. What's up? Sounds juicy. Imagine a major tech company, on the cusp of launching a revolutionary product. I began, carefully choosing my words. Imagine they've overlooked a critical security flaw, one that could expose millions of user data points. And imagine someone tried to warn them, but they were dismissed. What would be the journalistic angle there? Sarah's breath hitched. Mandy, are you telling me this is not hypothetical? Her voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. Because if it's real and you have proof, that's front-page news. A corporate scandal of epic proportions. Data breaches are catnip for our readers. I might, I said, a faint smile touching my lips. I might have proof, but I need to be absolutely certain before anything goes public. I'll be in touch. The board meeting ended. Ethan strode past my desk, looking triumphant. Excellent news, Mandy. Board loved the presentation. Chimera is a go. Full steam ahead for launch tomorrow. He didn't even glance at me, already on his phone, barking orders. My heart hammered, a drumbeat of anticipation. Tomorrow. The clock was ticking. Liam's email arrived an hour later. Subject: you were right. The body of the email was concise. Mandy, I've run the snippet through our diagnostics. It's the exact exploit. The ghost in the machine. Unbelievable. Who let this slip through? This is a 5-alarm fire. I took a deep breath, a sense of grim satisfaction settling over me. I had been right, and Ethan had been wrong. Horribly, negligently wrong. I forwarded Liam's email, along with the highlighted code, to Sarah. My message to her was short. It's real. And the launch is tomorrow. I also have a recording of my conversation with the CEO, just in case they try to deny my warning. I didn't actually have a recording, but the lie felt good, a small act of defiance. It would make Sarah more confident, more aggressive. The next morning, the office was buzzing with an almost frantic energy. It was launch day. Balloons were being inflated. Champagne bottles chilled. Reporters were expected for the press conference later that afternoon. Ethan, a picture of smug confidence, walked past my desk, his voice booming. Mandy, get those launch day packets ready for the press. And remind David to prep the live demo. This is our day. Yes, Ethan, I replied, my voice calm, almost serene. I watched him go, a predator observing its prey before the final strike. My phone vibrated. It was Sarah. Mandy, it's out. Front page, online and print. We broke the story. It's trending. The headline: Tech giant's flagship product riddled with critical security flaw. CEO ignored warnings. We quoted an anonymous source, of course, but the details are undeniable. The code snippet you sent? It's authentic. We've had half a dozen cybersecurity experts confirm it. A slow smile spread across my face. Excellent, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you, Mandy. This is huge. The company's stock is already plummeting. Their press conference later? It's going to be a bloodbath. I hung up, a wave of relief washing over me, quickly followed by a surge of power. This wasn't about revenge, not truly. It was about validation. It was about integrity. And it was about protecting millions of unsuspecting users who would have had their data compromised. Minutes later, the first tremors hit. A junior marketing assistant, eyes wide with panic, ran past my desk. Mandy, have you seen the news? Our stock, it's crashing. Then came the phone calls. The board chairman first, his voice a furious roar I could hear from Ethan's office. Then investors, journalists, partners. The celebratory atmosphere curdled into one of chaos and fear. Ethan burst out of his office, his face ashen, his eyes wild. He clutched his phone, his knuckles white. Mandy, what is this? What's going on? He hadn't seen it yet. He was too insulated, too self-important. Ethan, I said calmly, I believe it's what I tried to warn you about yesterday. He stared at me, his mouth agape. You did this? You leaked this? I merely provided information, Ethan. I corrected him, my voice devoid of emotion. Accurate, verified information. Information that you dismissed. Information that you told me not to worry my pretty little head about. His face contorted, a mixture of rage and disbelief. You're fired, Mandy. Get out. Get out of my company. He was practically screaming now, his face purple. I'm afraid it's a little more complicated than that, Ethan, I said, rising from my desk. I picked up my small, framed picture of my cat and my favorite mug. I resigned this morning. Effective immediately. I walked to his office door where he stood, blocking my path, sputtering incoherent threats. I held up my phone. And before I go, Ethan, you might want to check the news. The article explicitly mentions that the CEO ignored multiple warnings from an internal source. His eyes darted to his computer screen, then back to me, a dawning horror in their depths. No, you wouldn't. Oh, but I would, Ethan, I said, a genuine smile finally gracing my lips. Because I'm not just a secretary. I'm a professional who understands the difference between right and wrong, between protecting a company and destroying it through arrogance. And I don't let anyone jeopardize the public's trust. I walked past him, a quiet dignity in my stride. The office was in pandemonium, but I felt a profound sense of peace. As I reached the elevator, David, the head of engineering, rushed up to me, his face grim. Mandy, is it true? The exploit? I just saw the article. How could we have missed it? His voice was filled with self-reproach. It was there, David, I said softly. I tried to tell Ethan. He wouldn't listen. He called me just a secretary. David's eyes widened, a flicker of understanding, then anger, crossing his face. He said that to you? After all you've done for this company? After you built our compliance framework? I simply nodded. The elevator doors opened. Mandy, wait, David said, his voice urgent. Where are you going? We need you here. We need your expertise to fix this. To mitigate the damage. I turned 1 foot already in the elevator. My expertise was dismissed, David. My warnings ignored. This company chose arrogance over integrity. I'm choosing integrity. But what about us? He asked, gesturing vaguely to the frantic employees. What about the company? That's Ethan's problem now, I replied, a finality in my tone. I warned him. He didn't listen. Actions have consequences. The doors slid shut, separating me from the chaos I had both prevented and unleashed. I didn't look back. The air outside was crisp, clean, and free of the cloying scent of ambition and arrogance. My phone buzzed again. It was a message from Liam. Heard the news. You're a legend, Mandy. Need a job. We're always looking for sharp minds who actually care about security. A true smile bloomed on my face. A new path. A new beginning. I walked towards it, head held high, knowing I had done the right thing, not just for myself, but for countless others. There's a profound satisfaction in standing up for what's right, even when it means walking away from everything you've built. My worth was never defined by a title, but by my knowledge, my integrity, and my courage to speak truth to power.